Latent heat is defined as heat which brings about a change of state, with no change in temperature. This refers to a change from a solid to a liquid, or a liquid to a vapor. There are different types of latent heat, which are latent heat of fusion, for example, ice to water, latent heat of vaporization, for example, water to steam or vapor, and latent heat of condensation, for example, steam or vapor to water. Water changing state from a liquid to a vapor at 100 degrees Celsius is called the latent heat of vaporization. Large amounts of heat energy are required to change the state of a substance. In a split system, the change in latent heat occurs in both the indoor and outdoor units. In the indoor unit, after the sensible heat change occurs, the refrigerant will reach a point where a changed state occurs. This change is from a liquid to a vapor, as the warm air is pulled over the coils, which causes the liquid refrigerant to boil off to a vapor. This is an example of the latent heat of vaporization, and hence, in cooling mode, the indoor unit is called the evaporator. As the refrigerant is evaporating to a vapor after absorbing heat from the air, the refrigerant enters the indoor unit as a liquid, and through the latent heat of vaporization becomes a vapor. In the outdoor unit, after the sensible heat change occurs, the refrigerant will reach a point where a change in state occurs from a vapor to a liquid. The ambient air is pulled over the coils, which reduces the temperature by removing heat from the refrigerant, causing a change in state. This is an example of the latent heat of condensation, and hence in cooling mode, the outdoor unit is called the condenser, as the refrigerant is condensing to a liquid after enough heat has been rejected from the refrigerant. The refrigerant enters the indoor unit as a vapor, and through the latent heat of condensation becomes a liquid. To summarize, the latent heat of vaporization is the energy required to change state from a liquid to a gas. The latent heat of condensation is the energy required to change state from a gas to a liquid. This is the opposite of vaporization. The latent heat of fusion is the energy required to change state from a liquid to a solid, or a solid to a liquid. Sensible heat is the heat absorbed or given off by a substance that is not in the process of changing its physical state. Sensible heat is measured in kilograms per degrees Celsius. Latent heat is the heat absorbed or given off by a substance while it is changing its physical state. Latent heat is measured in kilojoules per kilogram.